After being humiliated by a customer during a storm, a delivery driver shared his pizza with a homeless man. Months later, he discovered who that man really was. That's why people like you are nothing more than a delivery boy. The door slammed shut so hard the noise echoed throughout the street. For a few seconds, Kwame Mensah stood motionless in the storm. The rain streamed down his face as he held the pizza box that had been refused. But what he didn't know at that moment was that that same pizza would change his life forever. Months later, because of that night, he would receive the keys to an entire pizzeria. But at that moment, all he felt was shame. It had all started a few minutes earlier. Kwame sped his motorcycle through the flooded streets. The rain was so heavy he could barely see ahead. Twice he almost fell. A fallen tree blocked the main avenue. He had to make a huge detour. The clock kept ticking, and with each minute of delay, his heart tightened more. In his jacket pocket was something that worried him even more than the delivery: a doctor's prescription. His mother's medication ran out in 2 days. Without that job, he didn't know how he would buy it. Finally, he arrived at the address. A huge house, extended lights, luxurious cars parked in the driveway. Kwame took a deep breath and rang the doorbell. The door opened. An elegant man appeared. Before even hearing any explanation, he glanced at his watch. His face changed. 40 minutes late. Sir, I'm sorry. A storm blocked several streets. Is that my problem? I did my best. It wasn't enough. Kwame held out a pizza. The man didn't even try to take it. I don't want it anymore. Kwame's heart sank. Sir, please. If you cancel now, I'll have to bear the loss. The man chuckled. Then pay. Some guests of the house appeared behind him, all watching. Everyone was listening. Kwame felt his face burn. I really need this money. The man crossed his arms. Do you know what the problem is with people like you? Kwame remained silent. I always have an excuse ready. Sir, successful people arrive on time. Failed people arrive late. The guests laughed. Then came the phrase Kwame would never forget. That's why people like you are nothing more than a delivery boy. The door slammed in his face. A continuous rain fell, heavier than before. For a few seconds he stood there looking at the pizza box, thinking about his mother. We sorted things out, about the bills, about his whole life struggling without getting anywhere. Then he slowly walked to a nearby chaise longue. He sat on the floor, trying to hide his tears. That's when he heard a hoarse voice beside him. Don't believe him. Kwame spoke about the eyes. Sitting in the shade of the chaise longue was a man with a grey beard, worn clothes, and an old blanket over his shoulders. A homeless man. But there was something strange in that gaze. Something different. Something Kwame couldn't explain. He doesn't know who you really are, the stranger said. Kwame gave a sad smile. Neither do I anymore. The man was silent for a few seconds. Then I looked at the pizza box, and his stomach rumbled so loudly that they both ended up laughing. For the first time that night, then Kwame asked a simple question, a question that would change both their destinies. Are you hungry? The stranger froze, and the answer he would give in the next few seconds would begin an impossible friendship. A friendship that would end with $1 million secret. The rain continued to fall without stopping. Kwame and the homeless man shared a pizza sitting under the awning. For the first time that night, Kwame felt a little peace. "What's your name?" he asked. The man took a few seconds to answer. "Robert." "Nice to meet you, Robert. The pleasure is mine, kid." The two continued eating. Then Robert pointed to his delivery bag. "Do you work long hours?" Kwame gave a tired laugh. "More than I should." "Why?" "Because my mother is sick." Robert became serious. "Very sick?" Kwame nodded. "If I don't buy the medicine by Friday, she'll be without treatment." The old man lowered his eyes. For some reason, that answer seemed to hurt him. "And yet you helped a stranger." "I only shared a pizza." "No, you did more than that." Robert looked at the wet street. "You treated me like a human being." For a few seconds, no one spoke. Only the sound of the rain filled the silence. Then Robert asked a question. "What is your biggest dream?" Kwame's face changed. For the first time that night, a genuine smile appeared. "To have my own pizzeria." "A pizzeria?" "Yes. Why?" "Because every time I deliver a pizza, I see families gathered. I see happy people. And I wanted to create a place like that. But mainly..." He stopped. "Mainly because I wanted my mother to have complete treatment and be cured." Robert stood motionless, as if struck by those words. It was then that something unexpected happened. Headlights appeared at the end of the street. A black luxury car stopped in front of the awning. Kwame frowned. The back door opened. A man in a suit ran out into the rain. He looked desperate. His eyes searched for someone until they found Robert. The man froze. "Sir..." Robert immediately stood up. His face changed completely. "Go away." The man seemed not to believe it. "We've been looking for you for months." Kwame's eyes widened. "Months?" Robert took a step forward. "I told you to go away, but everyone is worried. Go away." The man hesitated. He seemed to want to say something important, but he ended up going back to the car. Seconds later, the vehicle disappeared into the darkness. Kwame was in shock. Who was he? Robert took a while to answer. "Someone from my past." "You know him?" "Yes." "Very well." Robert gave a sad smile. "Too well." The rain finally began to subside. Kwame looked at the clock. He was startled. "Wow, I didn't even realize the time." Robert smiled. "When the conversation is good, time flies." Kwame stood up. He picked up his delivery bag. There was still work ahead. There were still bills to pay. There was still a mother waiting for him at home. He extended his hand. "Well, I have new deliveries to make." Robert shook his hand. "I figured it was very nice to meet you, Robert." For the first time that night, the old man seemed emotional. More emotional than he should have been, as if that farewell meant much more to him. "It was very nice to meet you too, Kwame." The two were silent for a few seconds. Then Robert placed his hand on the young man's shoulder. "Never let anyone tell you that you were born to fail." Kwame smiled. "I'll try." "Don't try. Believe." Kwame nodded. He got on the motorcycle. He started the engine. But before leaving, he looked back. Robert was still standing under the awning, watching, smiling like a proud father. Kwame waved. Robert waved back. And that was the last moment they saw each other. Because months later, a simple letter would reveal that that farewell meant much more than Kwame could have imagined. Months passed. Life became even more difficult. His mother's health worsened. One morning, the doctor called him aside. "We need to start a stronger treatment." Kwame felt his heart sink. "How much does it cost?" When he heard the amount, he almost lost his balance. It was impossible, simply impossible. That night, sitting alone in the kitchen, he looked at the bills, at the medicines, at the photo of his mother. And for the first time, he thought that maybe the client that night was right. Maybe he would never realize his dream. Someone knocked on the door. Kwame opened it and froze. Two men in suits, the same men who had appeared in the rain, looking for Mr. Robert. One of them handed him an envelope. On the front was only one sentence: "Trust me one more time." The handwriting was Robert's. Minutes later, Kwame got into a black car. Throughout the journey, he asked questions. No one answered. The car drove through the city. It passed through humble neighborhoods. It passed through luxurious neighborhoods until it stopped in front of a huge commercial building. Kwame looked confused. When we met, I already knew my time was running out. After receiving my diagnosis, I snapped. After I met, I already knew my time was running out. After I met my lawyer, I already knew my time was running out. After I received my diagnosis, I snapped out of it. After I met my lawyer, I already knew my time was running out of people interested in my money. I wanted distance from the word will. Now it's his. His legs went weak. Tears streamed down his face. The property was perfect, exactly like the pizzeria he had described that night. Every detail, as if Robert had imagined that dream along with him. 6 months later, a new sign shone above the entrance. The Marquis Pizza, in homage to the Marquis where it all began. Inside was a large photograph of Robert, and below it a phrase: "Never let anyone tell you that you were born to fail." On opening day, the line snaked around the corner. His mother walked excitedly through the dining room. The employees worked tirelessly. The tables were packed. Everything seemed like a dream. Then the door opened, and Kwame froze, because he immediately recognized that face. It was the customer from the night of the storm, the man who humiliated him, the man who said he was born to fail. The customer looked around. He saw the pizzeria full. He saw the line. He saw Robert's picture. He saw Kwame behind the counter, but he didn't recognize him. Kwame could have taken revenge. He could have humiliated him. He could have made him feel the same pain. But he remembered the rainy night. He remembered Robert, and he smiled. "Welcome to the Marquis Pizza. May I take your order?" At that moment, Kwame realized something. His greatest triumph wasn't the pizzeria, nor the building, nor the money. It was having become exactly the kind of man Robert saw that night. Small acts of kindness can change a life, and sometimes the person the world ignores is precisely the one who will transform your destiny forever. If this story touched your heart, share it with someone special. Leave a like to support the channel. Comment: which country are you watching from? I want to know the reach of this beautiful story. Subscribe so you don't miss any stories worth listening to.